3 unidentified drones flying over Washington, D.C., circling the White House at 2,000 feet. No transponders, no identification. Advanced stealth characteristics. U.S. Air Force scrambled F-16s. Secret Service activated counter-drone systems. But these weren't hobbyist quadcopters. Intelligence analysis confirmed Russian origin. Orlan-20 reconnaissance drones, launched from clandestine position inside the United States, spying on the president, mapping defenses, testing response times. President Trump was furious. His national security team traced the operation back to Russian GRU sleeper cell in Virginia. The retaliation was immediate, surgical, and delivered in ways that made Putin realize the game had changed. This is how the Trump administration responded to Russian espionage on American soil, with actions that shocked Moscow and demonstrated why certain red lines cannot be crossed. March 17, 2025. 1:47 a.m. Washington, D.C. Secret Service counter-drone radar detected 3 small contacts approaching restricted airspace. Altitude, 2,000 feet. Speed, 40 knots. Heading, direct toward White House. The duty officer sounded alert. Unidentified aircraft. Possible threat. Protocol activated. F-16s launched from Joint Base Andrews within 4 minutes, armed, ready to intercept. But these drones had sophisticated jamming, electronic countermeasures. They weren't easy targets. The drones were Orlan-20 class, Russian-made reconnaissance UAVs, wingspan 11 feet, endurance 16 hours, equipped with high-resolution cameras, thermal imaging, electronic intelligence gathering. These aren't toys. They're military-grade surveillance platforms. Russia uses them extensively in Ukraine. But tonight, 3 were operating over the most restricted airspace in America, over the White House, where President Trump slept, where cabinet met, where national security decisions happened. Someone was watching. Someone Russian. The F-16s arrived at 1:53 a.m. Pilots obtained visual confirmation. 3 drones, flying in formation. Sophisticated flight patterns, not random, not hobbyist behavior, military operation. The lead pilot requested weapons authorization. Shoot them down. But Secret Service wanted them intact. Study them, learn their capabilities, trace their origin. The drones began descent at 1:58 a.m., landing trajectory toward Rock Creek Park. All 3 touched down within 200 meters of each other, coordinated, planned. Then they shut down, waiting for recovery. Secret Service tactical teams reached the landing site at 2:04 a.m., secured the drones, discovered something shocking. Each drone carried data storage, hours of video, thermal imagery of White House grounds, mapping of security positions, guard rotation schedules, vehicle movements. This wasn't casual surveillance. This was intelligence gathering. Professional. Detailed. Exactly what hostile intelligence services do before operations, before attacks. The implications were terrifying. FBI counterintelligence received the drones at 3:12 a.m. Technical analysis began immediately. Engineers examined construction, identified components, confirmed Russian origin. Orlan-20 drones manufactured in Yekaterinburg, smuggled into United States through unknown channel, modified for stealth operations, equipped with American GPS receivers, programmed with White House coordinates. This was sophisticated operation, not improvised, not amateur, professional intelligence gathering by Russian assets operating on American soil. If you want to see how President Trump responded to Russian espionage with actions that redefined great power competition, subscribe to Navy Force right now. We break down operations mainstream media won't fully report. President Trump received briefing at 6:30 a.m. Russian drones over White House, mapping security, gathering intelligence, launched from inside United States. His reaction was immediate, furious. How did Russian military drones operate over Washington? Where did they launch from? Who was controlling them? His national security team had partial answers. The drone's flight paths were analyzed, traced backward, launch point identified. Northern Virginia, 43 miles from White House, rural property, registered to shell company. Further investigation revealed the truth. GRU sleeper cell, Russian military intelligence officers, operating under deep cover, living in America for years, activated for this operation. Trump demanded options, military options, intelligence options, diplomatic options. His national security advisor presented 3 courses. Option 1, arrest the cell, public trial, diplomatic protest, traditional response. Option 2, covert action, eliminate the cell quietly, send message without publicity. Option 3, proportional retaliation, hit Russian intelligence operations worldwide, dismantle their networks, show that spying on American president has consequences. Trump chose option 3, with modifications. He wanted Putin to feel it personally, wanted Russian intelligence to understand the cost, wanted deterrence through demonstrated capability. The operation was authorized at 8:47 a.m. March 17th. CIA received orders, NSA activated cyber capabilities, U.S. Special Operations Command prepared direct action. The targets were carefully selected. Russian GRU headquarters in Moscow, Russian intelligence station in Geneva, GRU training facility in Rostov, and the sleeper cell in Virginia. Hit them all simultaneously. Within 24 hours, show Russia that American intelligence can reach anywhere, anytime, with precision. At 11:23 a.m., FBI hostage rescue team raided the Virginia property. 12 agents, heavily armed, surprise assault. 3 Russian GRU officers were inside, experienced operatives, but they weren't ready for American tactical teams. The raid lasted 4 minutes. All 3 Russians secured. No shots fired. Clean arrest. Search of property revealed drone control station. Additional Orlan-20 units. Encrypted communications gear, evidence of long-term intelligence operation. The cell had been operating for 4 years, gathering intelligence, reporting to Moscow, mapping American defenses, until today. But that was just the opening move. At 7:34 p.m. Moscow time, March 17th, GRU headquarters experienced catastrophic cyber attack. Every computer system crashed simultaneously, classified databases corrupted, communications networks collapsed, backup systems failed. The attack was surgical, targeted, sophisticated. NSA's tailored access operations had been inside GRU networks for months, waiting. Tonight, they activated, destroyed data, extracted intelligence, left Russian military intelligence blind, deaf, paralyzed. The damage would take months to repair, if full repair was even possible. What would you do if you were Putin receiving this news? Type A for immediate escalation. Type B for strategic pause. Share your opinion below. Simultaneously, Geneva. Russian intelligence station operated under diplomatic cover. 23 GRU officers, posing as diplomats, trade representatives, cultural attachés. Swiss intelligence had been monitoring for years. Now they received tip from CIA, irrefutable evidence of espionage. Swiss government declared all 23 officers persona non grata, expelled within 48 hours. The station was shut down. Russia's European intelligence hub eliminated, years of operations disrupted, networks exposed, assets compromised. At Rostov training facility, something different happened. No cyber attack, no raids, just precision strike. At 9:17 p.m. local time, facility's communications tower exploded. Then power station. Then 3 training buildings. No casualties. Buildings were empty. Night shift. But infrastructure destroyed. Months of training disrupted. Message sent. U.S. military can reach inside Russia, strike when they want, where they want, how they want. The explosions were blamed on Ukrainian sabotage by Russian media, But Moscow knew. The Americans did this. As retaliation, as demonstration, as warning. President Trump addressed the nation at 3 p.m. EST. Brief statement, no questions. Last night, Russian intelligence conducted surveillance operation over the White House. Using military drones, launched from American soil. This is unacceptable. We have responded appropriately. Through intelligence channels, through diplomatic channels, through methods I will not discuss publicly, Russia knows what we did. They know why we did it. And they know we will do it again if necessary. American sovereignty is not negotiable, our security is not debatable, and hostile intelligence operations on our soil will face immediate and overwhelming response. That's all. The statement lasted 90 seconds. Said everything without details. Perfect. Moscow's response came 6 hours later. Russian Foreign Ministry statement. Baseless accusations, provocative actions, escalatory behavior by Washington. The statement denied everything. Claimed drones were American false flag. Blamed Ukraine. Blamed NATO. Blamed everyone except Russia. But the denial was hollow. Putin knew. His intelligence services knew. GRU headquarters was crippled. Geneva station expelled. Rostov facility damaged. Sleeper cell arrested. And he couldn't retaliate proportionally without admitting Russian operation. Trapped by plausible deniability. His operation failed. His retaliation options limited. Strategic defeat. Don't miss the strategic implications. This operation changed how great powers conduct intelligence warfare and showed why the Trump administration's approach to Russian aggression differs fundamentally from previous administrations. The captured GRU officers faced federal charges, espionage, conspiracy, operating as unregistered foreign agents, trials scheduled, maximum sentences, life imprisonment. Russia demanded their return, called them diplomats. But they had no diplomatic status, no immunity, no protection. They were intelligence officers operating illegally on American soil. The trials would expose Russian intelligence methods, compromise their networks, educate American counterintelligence. Russia lost the officers, lost the intelligence, lost the operation. Total failure. The cyber attack on GRU headquarters was analyzed by international cybersecurity experts. Consensus: most sophisticated offensive cyber operation publicly known. NSA had maintained persistent access for months, waited for authorization, then activated with devastating effect. Russian intelligence lost years of data. Operational files, agent communications, source protection, all compromised. The damage was strategic. Not just tactical disruption, but long-term capability degradation. Russia's intelligence operations would take years to recover. Subscribe to Navy Force now for more analysis of how the Trump administration is reshaping great power competition through decisive action. We cover operations other channels ignore. Hit that subscribe button. The Geneva expulsions hurt Russian intelligence throughout Europe. That station coordinated operations across Western Europe, managed assets, handled communications. With it gone, Russia's European intelligence infrastructure collapsed. Other stations tried to compensate, but they lacked capacity, lacked coverage. Operations failed. Assets were exposed. Some defected. Others went silent. The damage rippled across Russian intelligence networks. One station lost. Entire continental operations disrupted. The Rostov facility strikes demonstrated something critical. U.S. military can conduct limited strikes inside Russia without escalation to full war. The strikes were precise, proportional, targeted infrastructure, not people. Russia couldn't respond with nuclear weapons, couldn't launch major military operation, could only absorb the hit and protest diplomatically. That capability changes strategic calculus. Russia cannot conduct operations against America without accepting risk of proportional retaliation inside Russian territory. New rules, new game, new deterrence model. International reactions varied. NATO allies quietly approved. Russia needed deterrence, needed consequences. Trump's response provided both. European intelligence services shared information on Russian operations, coordinated expulsions, strengthened counterintelligence. The operation demonstrated American leadership, willingness to act, capability to strike. Allied confidence strengthened. China watched carefully. They operate extensive intelligence networks in America. The drone operation's consequences made them reconsider. If Russia faces this retaliation for surveillance drones, what happens to Chinese intelligence operations if exposed? Chinese intelligence services increased operational security, reduced risks, became more cautious. Deterrence through demonstrated willingness to retaliate. The tactical lessons are significant. First, advanced drones enable sophisticated intelligence gathering. The Orlan-20 units collected detailed intelligence on White House security. That information could enable future attacks, assassinations, sabotage, terrorist operations. Preventing intelligence gathering is critical. Detecting it is essential. Retaliating for it is necessary. Second, sleeper cells remain viable intelligence tools. The GRU officers operated for 4 years before activation. Deep cover, patient, professional. Other cells likely exist. Undetected. Waiting. American counterintelligence must assume hostile intelligence services have long-term assets in place. Hunt them, find them, eliminate them. Third, proportional retaliation deters better than threats. Trump didn't threaten, didn't warn, just acted. Immediately, decisively, multiple simultaneous operations. Russia lost cell, lost headquarters functionality, lost Geneva station, lost training facility, all within 24 hours. That speed, that coordination, that effectiveness, it deters future operations better than diplomatic protests ever could. Fourth, cyber weapons provide proportional response options. Physical military strikes risk escalation. Cyber operations achieve effects without explosions. Without casualties, the GRU headquarters attack crippled Russian intelligence without killing anyone. Perfect proportionality. Maximum effect. Minimal escalation risk. Was Trump's response appropriate or excessive? Type A if you think it was justified. Type B if you think it went too far. Leave your analysis in comments. The political implications in Washington were complex. Democrats criticized lack of congressional notification, demanded briefings. Republicans supported decisive action, praised swift response. Intelligence committees received classified briefings. Details remain secret. But consensus emerged. Russian operation was serious. Response was appropriate. Debate focused on process, not substance. Trump's action had bipartisan support where it mattered. Among people who knew classified details. Putin's domestic position weakened slightly. Russian intelligence community questioned leadership. 3 officers arrested. Headquarters attacked. Geneva station expelled. Rostov damaged. For what? 3 drones over White House that were captured. Surveillance data that was seized. Operation that failed completely. Some Russian intelligence officers began questioning whether aggressive operations against America were worth the cost. Internal debates intensified, not openly, but quietly. In classified settings, doubts growing about strategy. The drone technology became focus of study. Orlan-20 units were reverse engineered. American engineers learned Russian capabilities, identified vulnerabilities, developed countermeasures. Future Russian drone operations would face enhanced defenses. The intelligence value of captured drones exceeded their surveillance value. Russia lost more from their capture than they gained from their brief flight over Washington. The encrypted communications gear found at Virginia Safe House provided enormous intelligence. NSA cryptographers broke encryption, accessed historical communications, identified other GRU networks, other sleeper cells, other operations. The compromised communications led to additional arrests, more expulsions, more operations disrupted. One cell's capture cascaded into network collapse. Russian intelligence in America was set back years. If you found this analysis of great power intelligence competition valuable, like this video, share it, subscribe to Navy Force for coverage of how Trump administration is reshaping American national security strategy. Hit notification bell. March 17, 2025 demonstrated new approach to Russian intelligence operations. Previous administrations responded to Russian espionage with diplomatic protests, proportional expulsions, economic sanctions. Trump's team responded with comprehensive retaliation, arrests, cyber attacks, expulsions, physical strikes, all coordinated, all immediate, all effective. The approach signaled change, new administration, new rules, new consequences. The operation's success depended on intelligence preparation. NSA had penetrated GRU networks months earlier. CIA had identified Geneva station personnel. FBI had been tracking Virginia cell. Special operations had Rostov facility targeted. Everything was ready, waiting for authorization. When authorization came, execution was flawless. That preparation enables rapid response. That readiness deters adversaries. That capability protects America. Russian intelligence operations against America didn't stop, but they became more careful, more cautious, more risk-averse. Officers knew that operations against American leadership could trigger overwhelming response. Not diplomatic protests, real retaliation. Career-ending, life-threatening. That knowledge changes behavior, makes officers hesitant, makes operations harder, makes success less likely. Deterrence through demonstrated consequences. The 3 drones that flew over White House on March 17th cost Russia far more than they gained. 3 cheap drones, maybe $15,000 total, lost. 3 intelligence officers imprisoned. Headquarters crippled. European station closed. Training facility damaged. Networks compromised. Years of operations disrupted. Billions in intelligence value destroyed. The cost-benefit ratio was catastrophic. Russia paid dearly for surveillance operation that captured nothing useful and lost everything valuable. President Trump's message was clear. You can conduct intelligence operations. Everyone does. But certain targets are off-limits. The White House is off-limits. Direct surveillance of American president is off-limits. Operations on American soil using military equipment is off-limits. Cross those lines and face immediate overwhelming response. Not proportional, overwhelming, not delayed, immediate. Not symbolic, real. That clarity creates deterrence. That certainty prevents escalation. That understanding maintains stability. The incident remains classified in many details. Public knows about drones, about arrests, about diplomatic expulsions. But cyber operations remain secret. Physical strikes remain unacknowledged. Special operations remain classified. That ambiguity serves purpose. Russia knows what happened. America knows what happened. But public uncertainty prevents Russian domestic pressure for counter-retaliation. Putin can't admit full extent of American response without admitting Russian operations failure. Trapped by secrecy, he needed for deniability. 3 Russian drones over White House, 1 night of surveillance, years of consequences. The operation that was supposed to demonstrate Russian intelligence capability instead demonstrated American counterintelligence dominance. Russian sleeper cell compromised. GRU headquarters attacked. European operations collapsed. Training disrupted. And Trump administration sent unmistakable message. Spy on American president and pay catastrophic price. Test our security and face overwhelming retaliation. Operate on our soil and lose your networks worldwide. That message resonated. In Moscow, in Beijing, in Tehran, everywhere hostile intelligence services operate, America under Trump administration will retaliate. Immediately, decisively, overwhelmingly, new sheriff, new rules, new consequences. March 17th was the demonstration. Future adversaries should learn the lesson. Because next time, retaliation might be more severe, more public, more costly. The choice is theirs. But consequences are guaranteed.